Heads of states and top diplomats from around the world sign on to a sweeping international agreement on migration. Catholic aid groups say the accord supports the safe and humane movement of all people. But the biggest country not on board is the United States. Correspondent Wyatt Goolsby reports from the State Department. Good evening, Wyatt.
Good evening, Lauren. Top diplomats here are not holding back in criticizing this global compact, which is spearheaded by the United Nations. The U.S. mission to the UN warns the agreement challenges national sovereignty and will lead to an influx of migrants. Despite the fierce opposition, most countries agree it's a step in the right direction.
Je n'entends pas d'objection.
With the sound of a gavel, more than 160 countries reach an agreement on the non-binding Global Compact for safe, orderly, and regular migration.
Und meine Damen und Herren, es lohnt sich noch einmal daran zu erinnern.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who welcomed hundreds of thousands of refugees from the Middle East to her country, hailed this as an important day while speaking at a UN conference in Morocco. The work on the document began 2 years ago after the UN, along with the Obama administration, approved a declaration saying no country could manage international migration alone, so they needed to work together. The Trump administration withdrew its support a year ago, saying parts of the deal were inconsistent with U.S. immigration and refugee policies. During the presidential campaign, then-candidate Donald Trump criticized Angela Merkel for her stance on immigration.
She's in the process of destroying Germany with the migration. We have to help the people with the migration. We have to create a safe zone someplace in Syria. But I don't want them coming into this country. I don't want them, because we don't know who they are.
The problem hits close to home for Americans. Across the southern border, hundreds of Central American migrants are still camped outside shelters. Catholic activists, like this priest, are trying to help the migrants register for work in Mexico. In September, Catholic Relief Services joined with other faith-based groups in voicing their support for the Global Compact. Joan Rosenhauer with Jesuit Refugee Service USA told me it's vital governments around the world also recognize the work of Catholic groups who work to provide a better life for migrants and refugees.
I think sometimes we forget in this country that the fact that our faith calls us to love everyone, to bring God's love into the world, to care for those who are suffering the most, people in greatest need.
Pope Francis echoing a similar sentiment today in the 70th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. He lamented the poor, the unborn, the imprisoned, saying they do not enjoy the same human rights protections as the wealthy. Now, today, Secretary Mike Pompeo also says there are many countries that still impede religious freedoms and beliefs. Lauren?
Correspondent Wyatt Goolsby reporting from the State Department. Thank you, Wyatt.